CM Punk. Survivor Series 2023 closed not with fireworks, but Punk's iconic music blasting. CM Punk returned after nearly 10 years away from WWE to a roaring hometown crowd, one of the biggest pops in recent memory. Nobody saw it coming, and that silence before the music hit made the moment electrifying. His return flipped the script immediately. Punk didn't just walk out, he reinserted himself into the title chase, making it personal not just for himself, but for Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Punk's comeback followed a behind-the-scenes reconciliation with Triple H, reportedly after a Zoom call that cleared years of tension. It wasn't cheap heat, it was raw emotion meeting smart business. WWE dialed the momentum back in seconds. Punk challenged the status quo and shook up the pecking order overnight. Fans everywhere were buzzing. Some were overjoyed to see him back in a ring, others cautious because continuity matters. Sports and wrestling outlets praised the booking, calling it iconic, needed, surprising. In storyline terms, Punk's return swung everything from mid-card ramblings to world title fights. Suddenly, fans and talent alike had to rework their summer plans. It reset alliances, rivalries, and agendas. Punk's comeback wasn't just nostalgia, it was a strategic reboot for WWE's future arcs. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns paused in early 2024 after losing his title at WrestleMania 40. WWE let that simmer. Then on August 3rd, 2024's SummerSlam, the only tribal chief returned in a stark, emotion-laden segment. He stormed the ring to help Cody Rhodes retain his undisputed WWE Championship, and in doing so, reclaimed his identity in one chilling moment. This return wasn't about surprise music, it was symbolic authority reclaimed. Reigns shook off months of speculation about his status and debuted under a new ring name, OTC, the only tribal chief. Commentary and fans leaned into the air of inevitability. Some were excited, others felt it stole the spotlight from Rhodes. Italian outlets and insiders noted how WWE built up Reigns' absence as a quiet spectacle. When he returned, it wasn't about a match, it was about control. Storylines involving bloodline implosion, Jey Uso, and insider power play suddenly redirected. Narrative arcs reformed around his character, reshaping power structures. In simple terms, Reigns' return turned WWE storytelling inside out. A midsummer aid to one hero made him felt again as untouchable. The story now had shape. Tribal politics, legacy claims, and moral ambiguity. Roman had gone away, it wasn't quiet, and came back even louder. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes' return at WrestleMania 38 was one of those instant classic WWE surprises. After 6 years, billions of rumors, and AEW stardom, Cody walked down the ramp to cheers and went on to wrestle a match in his comeback night. It shaped WrestleMania's main event direction instantly. Fast forward to June 7th, 2025, he reappeared at WWE Money in the Bank to save Jey Uso and set up a tag match versus John Cena and Logan Paul, immediately re-establishing a heroic Connor effect. He embodies legacy, son of Dusty Rhodes, fighting for a pay-per-view dream. His 2022 debut returned emotional stakes to WWE, and his 2025 appearance pivoted ongoing storylines around Cena, Uso, and Paul. Fans and media cheered the timing. It felt earned without forced hype. The 2025 return hit like a mid-season powerhouse entry, saving an ongoing beatdown and turning Chevy spots into storyline gold. It realigned alliances, switched momentum toward Rhodes, and rug-pulled Cena's heel trajectory. For WWE, Rhodes is a narrative reset button, and fans love pressing it. Edge. Edge has resigned WWE TVs like a ghost, gone, unexpected, back again. His first major return was at Royal Rumble 2020, shockingly appearing and marking his first wrestling match in 9 years after retiring due to injury. That comeback punched storytelling in the gut and turned an already shocking main event even more historic. But he's returned multiple times. In 2021, he popped up to help Christian, and again in 2023/2024 for high-profile segments. Every time he re-enters the narrative, the storyline pivots. His returns always create crosshairs, everyone nearby shifts. Edge's returns use his history. Real-life injuries fuel unexpected retirements. So when he walks back, there's emotional weight. It isn't just an angle. It's someone defying physical limits and emotional barriers. Fans cheer comeback kid vibes. Media circles describe it as legendary re-entry each time. Edge turning up means rivalries, reignite, or reform. Royal Rumble 2020 reset Roman's mojo and WWE's title landscape. Later returns helped feuds with Miz, Seth Rollins, even helped tag team dynamics shift. His return segments feel cinematic, raw, nostalgic, and narrative heavy. And that's why he was capable of headlining WrestleMania 37. Randy Orton. After nearly a year and a half away, Randy Orton stunned fans by walking back into WWE at Survivor Series 2023 in Boston, joining Cody Rhodes' War Games team as the surprise final entrant. The arena went silent, then erupted as Orton appeared and delivered an RKO to close the match. sealing victory and rewriting momentum instantly. This return wasn't just fan service, it shifted the entire Survivor Series narrative. Orton had been missing from live TV amid injury, and his arrival reset Cody's team from hopeful underdogs into dominant champions. WWE booked him as the returning veteran predator, preying on both mind game wrestlers and rising stars alike. Orton's return wasn't inspired by a real-world event. It was a storyline juggernaut built off his legacy and distance. Fans immediately buzzed about his impact. Some praised the timing, others wished it had been better foreshadowed. Media described it as a classic return, noting its long-term storytelling potential. Over the next several weeks, Orton navigated chaos and alliances, eventually entering the King of the Ring tournament with serious momentum and crowd buzz. That win path put him in frame for a possible SummerSlam world title shot. In storyline terms, Orton's return delivered legitimacy to Cody's team and escalated the conflict with Reigns, while reminding everyone why the Viper still strikes fear in WWE. Becky Lynch. In one of the most dramatic tag team surprises of 2025, Becky Lynch returned at WrestleMania 41 as Lyra Valkyria's replacement partner after Bayley was mysteriously attacked backstage. The crowd exploded when the man hit the ring to join the tag match, and then, teaming with Valkyria, they captured the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, shocking the crowd and reshaping the post-WrestleMania landscape. That return turned Comedy House chaos into championship gold. It wasn't flagged as an injury return, it was booked as a storyline pivot to secure a mega pop and boost star power after The Rock's absence from the show. Lynch's appearance added drama, tension, and an immediate championship moment in a match she wasn't originally advertised to be in. Media and fans were divided. Many thrilled at her iconic return, others criticized WWE for cutting Bayley's storyline short and accused the angle of backstage favoritism. From a storyline perspective, Lynch's return kickstarted a feud with Lyra Valkyria and repositioned her as a dominant force alongside her heel turn shortly after. She revealed herself as the attacker of Bayley, deepening the emotional stakes. By the night following WWE Raw, she turned heel, setting up a visceral personal feud leading into Backlash and Money in the Bank, where she challenged for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, escalating Valkyria's status while delivering Lynch a new character edge. In short, Lynch's surprise return wasn't just about nostalgia. It jacked the story into new direction, created ripples through the women's division, and unleashed a personal saga that WWE leaned into for weeks. Highly effective storytelling. Bray Wyatt. Wrestling's spooky vibe spilled back over when Bray Wyatt returned at Extreme Rules 2022. The arena went dark, glitches flickered on the Titantron, and viewers knew something chilling was coming. Then, puppet characters from Firefly Funhouse, like Sister Abigail and a smiling rabbit, set the scene. Before Bray Wyatt appeared live, mask on, lantern glowing, words quiet but savage. His surprise return flipped the narrative for Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, and the entire WWE supernatural landscape. Storylines that had stalled suddenly gained eerie momentum. WWE followed up with an alternate reality game called Nightbird, teasing his return weeks in advance with QR codes and glitches, building tension beyond the ring. Bray's return wasn't just visual, it came with a new faction, the Wyatt Six, led by Uncle Howdy, his real-life brother, along with Nikki Cross, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, and Dexter Lumis. They debuted with a violent takeover of SmackDown in May 2025, destroying tag teams and street chaos to celebrate what would have been Bray Wyatt's 38th birthday. The faction's torch-bearing return was dramatic, emotional, and narrative-rich, paying tribute and propelling the storyline forward. Although Bray tragically passed away in August 2023, WWE treated his return as storyline and emotional climax. Fans cheered at moments of homage and legacy. Many news outlets praised this booking as creative mythos building, celebrating Bray's return while honoring his impact. His posthumous storyline reset elevated WWE's supernatural storytelling and filled the controversy void with legacy and respect. Brock Lesnar. For someone whose presence is felt even when absent, Brock Lesnar's surprise at Raw is 30 felt legendary. He hadn't appeared since SummerSlam 2022, and, spoiler alert, his return came just as Austin Theory defended the US title. Lesnar walked out and F5'd Lashley in Austin. The crowd erupted. This wasn't nostalgia, it was proof that the Beast incarnate still changes everything. WWE reframed Theory as champion by Lesnar's destruction, giving him relevance overnight. The moment also reignited Lesnar's storyline archive, his intermittent dominance, unpredictability, and presence as power. Controversy hovered. Lesnar's absence followed serious legal accusations tied to Vince McMahon's scandal. While WWE officially stood silent, insiders speculated the return was a strategic, soft relaunch, testing water for Lesnar's long-term status. Fans reacted with mixed feelings. Some cheered the chaos, others questioned bringing him back before clarity on accusations. Wrestling media highlighted booking tightrope. delivering shocks while navigating real-life implications. Still, storyline-wise, Lesnar's return reintroduced unpredictability. It reset Theory's arc, beefed up Lashley's justified rage, and reminded the roster that the Beast can appear anytime. In a world of storyline noise, his walkout moments still speak volumes. The Rock. Nobody expected Hollywood's busiest man to clock in on New Year's night, but that's exactly what happened on Raw, Day 1, January 1st, 2024. The show opened with Jinder Mahal trash-talking America and the Bloodline saga, until If Ya Smell blasted through the speakers. The Rock marched down the ramp, roasted Mahal with a lightning round promo, and flattened him with a spinebuster people's elbow combo. 10 minutes in, the entire year's creative board had already been flipped on its head. Why was this cameo such a jolt? Because Rock's appearance wasn't billed, teased, or even rumored that week, WWE had publicly denied he'd work the Elimination Chamber build. One electrifying segment later, every storyline involving Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes got new stakes. Would Rock stand with his cousin Roman or against him? Social chatter spiked. Pundits called it the fuse that finally lit WrestleMania 40. Sure enough, the ripple carried through spring. Rock aligned with Roman, played power broker in Bloodline politics, and tag-teamed with the Tribal Chief at WrestleMania 40 in April, where he pinned Cody to hand Reigns early momentum. By night 2, Cody toppled Roman for the undisputed title, an outcome made far bigger because Rock had entered the fray. The Great One's next surprise cameo came at WWE Bad Blood, October 2024, keeping the family feud simmering for another season. Story-wise, Rock's 2024 returns proved you don't need weekly matches to move mountains. One thunderous pop on Raw set off months of tribal tension, legacy debates, and main event shuffles, all by simply showing up, dropping catchphrases, and reminding everybody who really owns the ring when the lights click off. Triple H. On January 7th, 2002, Triple H made one of the most emotional comeback moments in WWE history, vanishing from television for over 7 months following a devastating quadriceps injury. At Madison Square Garden, one of wrestling's hallowed halls, he walked back out to an eruption, not boos but cheers. Fans let out a collective roar of respect, a moment so powerful it reportedly moved him to tears. This return reshaped the storylines immediately. Prior to the injury, he was co-ruled over WWF as part of the two-man power trip. His exit left a vacuum. But his re-entry at MSG accelerated his face turn. WWE capitalized on it by crowning him Royal Rumble winner later that month. From there, he made his way into the main event of WrestleMania 10-8 against Chris Jericho, a deeply personal feud and one built around redemption and unfinished business. There was no real-life drama beyond the injury, but the emotional gravity laid into his on-screen character arc. Suddenly, storyline feuds and power plays refocused. Former allies became rivals. Authority structures shifted. His comeback didn't just restart his career, it pivoted the entire era toward new stories. Fans and media described it as a legendary return, and wrestling historians still point to that night in MSG as a keystone memory. Triple H's walk back through that curtain reminded viewers why wrestling feels like real life. Someone returns, everything changes. It's a proof of concept that a well-timed comeback can fire up momentum for months. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Steve Austin made his final WWE return at WrestleMania 38, stepping into the ring for a surprise Falls Count Anywhere match against Kevin Owens. This appearance shattered expectations. Austin stood face-to-face with Owens, launched into a chaotic brawl, executed stunners everywhere, and set the tone for the entire show. It wasn't just a match, it was a storytelling explosion. Austin hadn't wrestled since 2003, yet stepping back into the ring instantly commanded attention and gravity, overshadowing many other parts of the card. Afterwards, he spoke about regretting his absence, suggesting it might have impacted momentum after WrestleMania 38. No real-life scandal triggered the return. It was designed as nostalgia payoff and as a farewell to a legend. But media and fans saw it as perfect. A legacy icon, one final run. The match may have been short, but it punched heavyweight. WWE used it to remind viewers of the Attitude Era fire. In storyline terms, it reset Kevin Owens, solidifying him as the guy who stood toe-to-toe with the hardest man in WWE history, even just for one match. As Austin walked out, WWE had loaded its storytelling toolkit. Reverence, nostalgia, closure. He didn't just return, he left a narrative footprint that still echoes. Batista's surprise return to WWE came on January 20th, 2014 on Raw, 6 days before the Royal Rumble. Amid Royal Rumble fallout, Triple H had just announced the next major challenger lineup, and suddenly Batista's music hit. The Animal strode out, adding veteran dominance to the speculation list, and a few weeks later, he shockingly won the Rumble, setting up a headline match at WrestleMania 30. But there was a catch. Fans rejected the booking. Most wanted Daniel Bryan to win, and from the moment Batista appeared, Arena chants and boos made it clear. The return sparked flag-level controversy. Media outlets described it as mistimed. Fans saw it as dismissive of Bryan's momentum. In storyline terms, his return was meant to reintroduce a top-tier power player and elevate competition. Instead, it backfired and forced WWE to pivot. Batista's return became a critical turning point. It ended up accelerating Bryan's push. As the company pivoted to appease the audience, it also forced a redemption arc for Batista, turning him heel on SmackDown soon after. This comeback reminds us that nostalgia isn't always the win. Timing matters. Batista returned as a champion in waiting, but the backlash redirected WWE's direction, returning power on TV, but losing power in fan trust. It stands as a cautionary tale. A big return can reset stories, but if the reaction's wrong, it reshapes them entirely. Goldberg. On June 16, 2025, Goldberg made yet another WWE return, this time live on Raw in Atlanta, his hometown, confronting World Heavyweight Champion Gunther and issuing a challenge for a title match. It wasn't billed weeks in advance, and it instantly turned the segment into what just happened mode for viewers. This return rebooted a storyline by tying legacy, hometown pride, and personal vengeance. Months earlier, Gunther had insulted Goldberg and his son on international broadcasts, crossing lines by calling Goldberg a one-trick pony. That set Showdown Week ablaze. Wrestle fans and media described the return as part nostalgia, part vindication, and all about elevating Gunther with a legit Hall of Famer standing in his face. In storyline form, the segment reactivated Goldberg's powerhouse run and made Gunther's championship feel significant. It wasn't just a Hall of Famer cameo, it was the beginning of what's billed as Goldberg's retirement match in Atlanta's major card on July 12th. The return used emotional gravity and hometown symbolism to give Gunther's title run overdue shine. Fans had mixed reactions. Some cheered the timing and match setting. Others felt Goldberg should have stayed retired. Media called it a smart legacy booking and a good boost for Gunther. In narrative terms, it reset the title picture, gave Gunther iconic heat, and positioned Goldberg for one final emotional farewell. Storytelling with dramatic purpose. Kurt Angle. After missing months recovering from neck surgery, Kurt Angle made a celebrated return on SmackDown June 5, 2003, defeating Brock Lesnar and Big Show to reclaim the WWE Championship in a triple threat at Vengeance just weeks later. The emotional weight of his return, after a grueling rehab, infused his storyline arcs with real gravity. WWE immediately shifted storylines. Angle's comeback reignited his long-term feud with Lesnar and the brand new Team Angle feud with top-tier talent. His presence reset main event plans and gave SmackDown back its anchor. In promos and follow-up matches, Angle was heels and hero, a figure of resilience. The return wasn't tied to any scandal, just focus and recovery, and fans embraced it as a redemption arc done live. But the real comeback moment came in 2017, when Angle returned again after an 11-year absence from WWE TV, this time as Raw's general manager, inducted to the Hall of Fame, and later surprising fans in a tag team TLC match at tables, ladders and chairs and Shield gear, saving the night alongside Ambrose and Rollins. Though physical limitations showed, WWE leveraged his legacy to boost storylines across brands. WWE insiders reported Angle later felt like a liability during his return, a candid admission about the struggles of re-entering high-stakes storytelling after so long. In storyline terms, every Angle return forced narrative resets. Feuds paused, authority structures rebalanced, new matches birthed. Each time, his presence influenced both logical arcs and emotional beats. Bringing Angle back was like returning a ledger. You reset everything and then choose who owes who. Nia Jax. Nobody was expecting pyro, confetti, or even a countdown when the Women's World Championship main event hit its closing stretch on the September 2023 episode of Raw. Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez were battering each other when, boom, Nia Jax stormed down the aisle for her first WWE appearance in nearly 2 years. With the referee distracted, Jax hoisted Rodriguez onto her shoulders and planted her with a Samoan drop on the floor, handing Ripley the assist she needed to retain the title. And just when it looked like Nia was back to bolster mommy, she flipped the script. Post-match, Jax slid in, flattened Ripley with a running leg drop, and climbed the ropes and crushed the champ again for good measure. Crowd gasped, commentary scrambled, and the division's power chart got a brand new headline: everybody's on notice. This comeback wasn't tied to lingering contract talk or injury drama. Jax simply re-entered the chat as WWE's resident wrecking ball. Instantly, the women's roster pivoted. Ripley suddenly had a powerhouse problem. Rodriguez's redemption arc wrote itself, and mid-card hopefuls realized there was a 272-pound roadblock between them and gold. Fan response? Split down the middle. Some cheered the jolt of brute force, others rolled their eyes at past concerns about Nia's stiff style. Either way, social feeds lit up. WWE capitalized the next week, booking Jax and Demolition Derby squashes to remind everyone what irresistible force really means. Storyline-wise, Jax's return restored the division's heavyweight threat, launched fresh feuds, and yanked momentum away from Ripley's Judgment Day stranglehold. It wasn't nostalgia, it was a seismic statement. Champions, contenders, and hopefuls alike now have to survive the force of Nia Jax. If you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button because there's more coming your way.